Welcome to RAAONLINE. So today we have a very important topic, the informed consent. Basically an overview of this informed consent principles with respect to research. So this particular question on informed consent was asked in DNB General Medicine, December 2022, paper 4, question 6A. And again DNB Anesthesia, June 2022, paper 1, question 9B. And again DNB Anesthesia, December 2022, paper 2, question 4B. And there was also a question on vulnerable population research in DRNB Critical Care Medicine, October 2023, paper 3, question 10B. Okay. So this particular question is getting repeated again and again. Not just you need to know how to write an exam, but also to get a proper informed consent for your research. Okay. So what are we going to see about informed consent in this particular talk is what is meant by in accordance with national culture and requirement. And the next topic is going to be who may administer this particular informed consent? Who is eligible to get an informed consent from the subject? What information should be given to the study subjects in accordance with the GCP? What is meant by comprehension? How do investigation ensure that subjects understand information about the study? And how is this implemented in accordance with GCP? Okay, as an investigator, I have explained every detail to my subject. But how will I know whether that particular subject has understood what I said? What are the measures of comprehension? What is meant by vulnerable persons? What special protection are required to enable this vulnerable population to participate in research with respect to the Belmont report? How is informed consent documented properly? Is just getting a signature from the subject is all that is required? How should the process be documented throughout the study? Is it ethical to include subjects who are unable to consent? What do you actually mean by legally effective informed consent? Is it possible to obtain legally effective informed consent in research in an urgent or emergency care setting? Can consent or parental permission ever be passive or implied? What does it mean to minimize the possibility of coercion or undue influence or pressure? What does compensating subjects undermine informed consent or parental permission? Can non-financial enrollment incentives constitute undue influence? For example, if I give more money, if I give more rewards, if I give more benefits to a particular subject or a particular prospective subject, I may bias them, I may influence them to get enrolled in my particular trial. Or if I am the head of the department, if I am the boss of that particular institute, if I threaten you to get involved in that particular trial, there is also a possibility, right? So, can non-financial enrollment incentives constitute this kind of undue positive influence for the subject to get enrolled in the study? What constitutes coercion or undue influence when students in specific are involved in research in a college or university setting? What constitutes coercion or undue influence when employees are subjects of research? Should the initial consent or the parental permission procedure ever be repeated or supplemental again? For example, if your research is going to be continued for a longer time, how many times should you really go and get the permission? How many times should you really go and get the consent? Should the consent process be repeated again and again? How far in advance of research participation can consent be obtained? Can records or databases, the digital record system, be reviewed to identify potential subjects as a screening tool without obtaining the informed consent or parental permission? So without the subject's consent, will you be able to access the data? Is it legally and ethically correct? How can the consent and parental permission process be designed to facilitate understanding between the investigator and the particular subject? Can an electronic signature be used in the document consent or parental permission? Or maybe it's a faxed copy of the signed consent or the parental permission form acceptable to document as an evidence of informed consent? Who must sign the informed consent or the parental permission document form? Is it going to be one parent, or should you get consent from both the parent? What if one parent agrees, the other parent disagree? So what in such situation will you do? Right? So who must sign the informed consent or who must sign the parental permission document? Who can be a legal authorized representative for the purpose of providing consent on behalf of the prospective subject? And even if the particular subject has legally authorized representative, is it must that you should always go and get consent from only from that LAR? Or can you get the consent from the particular subject as well? So there are a lot of more questions regarding informed consent which we are going to discuss in this presentation. So stay focused.